So everyone, we're back. Infernal Shrines, our starting map. We got Team Sweden going up against Team Czechia. The first seeds for both countries right now. We are in Group E at this point. And, well, Sweden already lost to Ukraine, who are currently in the #1 spot in the group. And, well, it's going to be pretty important for the blue team to try and break through here. So we're going to have some pretty spicy action in front of us. Quick reminder, 28 teams have signed up for the event, representing 17 countries. We're currently in the first phase of the Nations Cup. $10,000 are on the line here. And we have split those 28 teams into 7 groups of 4 teams each. Out of every single group, the first seed makes it into the next phase of the tournament immediately. And the second place in the group still has another chance to advance to the next group as well, because we are going to run all those second place teams in the last chance qualifier, and the winner of that qualifier is also promoted into the second phase. So there's a lot on the line here. You really need to make sure to at least establish yourself in the #2 spot. And it seems like for Team Sweden, that's actually the objective right now, considering that Ukraine has so far not lost a series. Now, there could be an upset, but I think it's realistic to say that Sweden is currently playing for second place and try to get into the last chance qualifier. And with a lot of HGC players coming back for this one, I have Trickster with me once again.
And I can't wait, dude. I will not be ashamed to say it. I was a Wubby fanboy back in the day. Yorel, Dahaka. I watched so many gameplay of him running lanes, dude. So I'm excited to see him back. Even if he is old and washed, I'm old and washed too. I'm excited for it. Now, I'm asking you, Mr. Khaldor. We have a Medivh ban immediately here on Infernal Shrines. Do we have a Medivh player over on the opposing team?
Honestly, at this point, I'm not quite sure even, because Czechia, they are an underdog no matter how they're coming in here. Where some of the previous players we might have seen Medivh here. I know that one of the other teams ran it just recently, but I don't think it's too big of a problem. I mean, when Sweden, for example, played earlier, they ran into Medivh on the other side. So maybe they're just fed up with Medivh today, and they said, like, okay, we're not going to risk that again. Ukraine took them out with a 2-0. And I gotta say, Ukraine really with some big comeback matches. That was nasty. Especially game #2. It really felt like Sweden had that locked in. And just Ukraine never gave up. And then they had small chances and started to exploit them ruthlessly. And all of a sudden flipped the game. So I think Sweden is just done with Medivh for the day. But they are the favorites here for sure. And we'll see how it goes. Will be this time with Leo from the looks of it.
Yeah, I want to get someone that's relatively strong. Being able to double soak on this map can be a great draft strategy. On top of that, he helps out in the team fights a lot. Johanna and Blaze, with that % damage, are going to have a rough time on that front line and try to interchange between the tanking. And then, of course, if you ever get a chance to lock in, like, and a lot of people are like, don't focus Johanna. If you can get decent damage on Johanna, she's already popped her trait, you can drop the Entomb afterwards and try to blow her up afterwards. So this gives a lot of options, and they have split push potential and follow up with the Shrines of Sylvanas. I'm loving the draft so far from Sweden, but check. They got a great front line. I do wonder what their damage is going to be.
The Meatballs actually ran Quacknix earlier. They played 2 series today, and now Khaldor Gulnar has essentially swapped in. Breeze is also on the team. Most of the teams from the Nations Cup came in with more than 5 players, because obviously you have when one of your players can't play and you have to bring in a substitute player, he needs to also be from the same country. But if you find yourself in a region where there's multiple teams playing, it just makes sense to make sure that your roster has like 6 or 7 players even, so that you can swap people in and out if you need to. And this is basically what's happening for the first seed from Sweden. So Quacknix available for first match of the day. Now Khaldor Gulnar playing, which also then necessitates a couple of swaps in roles. But yeah, this is an important one for them. On the other hand...
Wait, you got to clarify for me. Who is Quacknix? Who's Breeze when it comes to names? No, I'm serious. Who is it?
Friends of Whoopi.
Friends of
Just a couple of buddies. He brought a couple of buddies in.
No. I thought you were saying they're in this match. And I'm like, wait, what gamer?
No. They're on the team, but they're not playing here now. So they are playing in other series. Quacknix played in the series earlier, but now instead Khaldor Gulnar is playing. So they are in on the sub roster. Is what I'm saying essentially.
You gotta be careful, man. I get confused easily, dude. Orphea and Brightwing for the 3rd and 4th pickup. I am looking for a little bit more damage here. Especially someone that can help control the shrine. So let's see what they're going to be picking up for their final pickup. However, the front line, Diablo and Leoric, you need someone that can get around that quite well. And it's going to be Tychus who will bring in that % damage and help hopefully keep Diablo in check.
And also, for Infernal Shrines, that obviously works. You have the transformation. Same might happen with Tacita. We'll see what he goes with on level 10. But, well, that's game number 1. Infernal Shrines, everybody. We got Team Sweden going up against Team Czechia. Game number 1, the Swedish team in blue over on the left side with Sven on Diablo. We got Captain Rex on Sylvanas. Galne Gulnar is playing Anduin. We got Whoopi on Leoric. And Azzy is playing Tacita for the blue team.
And in the right for the Czech team is Flesh on Tychus, Mouse on Orphea, Alcoholics on Blaze, Shady on Brightwing, and Zonkt on Johanna.
Jojo in the house. Typical front line with Jojo and Blaze. And then over on the left side, the Tacita pick in particular could get interesting. I mean, really nice damage that they have, the control over the objective then, of course, too. So let's see how this is going to play out for the blue team. For them, it's super important that they're locking in a victory here. With Ukraine running the group, at least up to now, it looks like they will take first slot. There could still be upsets, but again, it looks extremely good for the Ukrainian team. So everybody here is fighting for number 2, hoping that they can at least secure that spot so that they can participate in the last chance qualifier. And Sweden, while they were doing pretty well against Ukraine, losing there, have now a chance to get their first win in the group.
Big pressure on the top lane already as Captain Rex joins on the Sylvanas, with Leoric grabbing control of the menu waves, a way to step up and start working on top of this turret here. And turrets, while they only give about 2 minions worth of experience if you kill them, having the turret be killed off makes the minions later on a little bit stronger, so I do like that play. But Czech actually immediately move over and start grabbing their camps instead, just to make sure that they can have some pressure in the middle of the map and make Sylvanas come back into the fight. And so far, looking pretty alright here, as they now start to clear out the middle lane, and I'm sure they can go to the bottom and start working on that if they would like. Ooh, hang on though, Sylvanas is going back top. They may have to go deal with that. And they do have a Brightwing, so Brightwing can show up and help out if need be.
I mean, one of the good things of Sylvanas immediately going for the structures here is, of course, also that she starts getting stacks on level 1. So that's also helping a little bit, the more they can get her there. Taking the towers down also means that your minion waves are generally a bit more powerful in the sense that it's harder for the opponent to take them down as they're pushing for the fort. There's no tower assistance any longer, so for your side laner, that's also very good. And generally speaking, I do not envy whoever goes up against Whoopi. So Alcoholics now sitting on the side lane and sees who he's going up against, and he's probably going to be like, okay boys, this could get dicey, so I might need help at some point.
Yeah, you're pretty much yelling to your 4-man comms, like, do something, push a lane, try to answer back. And it's quite hard to answer back a Leoric and a Sylvanas, but something is happening. Polymorph comes out, and Sylvanas gets deleted. Gunnar tried to come in and be able to pull back his teammate with the leap of faith, but sadly could not get it in time.
Big win for Czechia. Get first blood in the game against the Swedish top team. Nice. Great for them here. Jet propulsion at the top, a little bit of damage against Leoric as well, but first kill goes to the red team, so nicely played by them.
Honestly, that was really clean. It was a nice concave.
Yep.
Brightwing nailed the polymorph just in time. She waited for the haunting wave to come out of Sylvanas, which would have let her teleport away. And then Brightwing in the middle of the animation made sure to interrupt that, and poor Anduin was just slightly too off, but great. That was clean. I'm actually excited if we're going to have that quick and clean of team fights. Now, of course, our lanes are going to have to deal with the menu waves that are pushing in. Currently, our blue team is getting the pressure on all lanes right now, so we're going to have the minions start to enter back in the middle as Flesh cleans that out. And Johanna now working on the bottom side for Tacita. Can they get another kill? Grenade misses just barely, but I don't think it would have been enough.
Also, Sylvanas is still sticking out at the top, so she's going to try to, at a minimum, take the opponent's camp out, the mercenary camp, and then maybe even push for structures. If they're willing to potentially sacrifice the Punisher at the bottom of the map, Sylvanas could get a lot of value. So we'll have to see if she rotates down, but nope, she's pushing. So she's trying to do enough damage that the red team can't compensate, even with the Punisher at the bot lane.
Yeah, so they're going to want to clear this out relatively quickly and then start pulling off their tank. And Diablo's Sven does a great job of slowing down that mounting, right? If you can ever knock someone off on a mount, you buy time for your teammates to continue pushing in the lane that they're in. So great read by Sven. This allows Sven to continue her push on the top. And look at that. Fort deleted Khaldor. Leoric also in a position to stop. But this is beautiful macro play. This is what Haunts is all about. 35-19 in the bottom lane here as they are continuing to finish off that shrine so they can get the Punisher, and they will get it. But can they get a fort back? That is the question.
I mean, honestly, it's nearly impossible to get that fort here if they defend properly. Yeah. So this was a huge play from Sweden. And it was great how Leo controlled the the area between the two lanes, because they knew that eventually somebody had to rotate over, and Leo was just holding that spot, and the second that Blaze appeared, he just slowed him down and made it impossible for Blaze to be there in time to save that fort. So him buying Sylvanas more time made it possible to get that structure. Anduin though, the crybaby over here, yeah, sat down and prayed for some skill for just a second. That might have helped him, but that is maybe a counter kill. They couldn't get Anduin, and now they lose Johanna. That's sad.
Let that be a lesson to you all. Crying is okay, and it's good for your health even. Spin comes in for another engage and takes out the Brightwing and Johanna. 2 down, and with all this macro, fort in the top side down, many ways being soaked, we actually see Team Sweden up in experience about a good full level, it's looking like. Sylvanas comes over here to the middle of the map here to start working on that fort. I doubt she'll be able to get it all, as Orphea is here, as well as a Blaze who could rotate in, but still, things are looking really good for Team Sweden as they build towards level 10.
I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with a bit of crying, by the way, as long as it's either my opponents or people crying inside.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Khaldor. They are duly noted.
Glad you approve.
As long as someone else is crying and I'm flexing over their dead body, it's fine. Okay, Sylvester Stallone.
Tazada went Arc on everybody, so we have transformations on both sides, assuming, of course, Odin. There's the barbecue, and toasted fruit fly is on the menu today. Kill number 3 for Sweden. Having that early level 10 is making Heroes of the Storm games a little bit easier.
That's right, and that 10 is creeping a little bit closer here for our Czech team as they are setting up here in the middle of the map to trying to slow down this bleeding. And typically, this is going to be a Sylvanas experience, especially if you lose a couple members in the early game or you don't offset the map correctly, you're going to find yourself slightly behind. But getting 10 is going to be that great equalizer as we're going to start seeing a lot of these heroics coming in. You have the bunker, you got Odin, you got your Blessed Shield, you got your Blink Heal all coming in, which is going to allow for the team to move forward. Zonk actually running straight for this Sylvanas, misses out on the Condemn, but a Blessed Shield will follow it up. Here comes Brightwing as she phase shifts in. Oh my god, the Entomb and Tazzer wall gets a great lockdown, and now Azzy moves forward in full Archon mode, bringing the might of the Protoss.
One of the cool things with Leo and Diablo is still stunning people into a Leoric Entomb wall. Here comes the light bomb, and damn, he gets the full stun there. That's Blaze gone. They want more. Another bully move by Diablo as he starts to push them back, but somehow both Orphea and Brightwing survive, so at least for the time being, it's only a single kill for the Swedish players.
I am surprised that only one person went down there. Yep. There was 2 incredible engages that came in there from Team Sweden. The first one was the Leoric Entomb into a Tazadar Force Wall to lock 2 people in. The damage just wasn't fully quite there despite the Archon coming out. I think that was because of Johanna getting a wonderful shield glare off, which blinded them from doing attacks. And then the other follow-up was the Leoric Wraith Walk into a Light Bomb from Anduin. Such great engages, but at the same time, gotta give Czech team credit, man. They were able to disengage quite well and only lose 1.
Yeah, I think they're preferring Kraddick over Czech.
What?
That one was really weak, but I had to do it. I had to do it.
You know it's a good day when I'm the professional one out here. Khaldor,
I had to do it.
All the checks.
I was thinking about it. I was like, this is too bad. This is like full dad joke material. And I was like, I can't resist. Have to say it. Somebody has to sacrifice. But yeah.
Well said, man.
Anyways.
Ooh, Diablo.
Now that we got that out of the way, Diablo. He's dead. Alright. They get Diablo down. Kill number 2 for them. But the gap in experience is just widening, and while this has been playing out, we have still the Shrine active top side. Now Blaze is obviously attempting to get as many stacks for the team as he can, but now that we have Team Sweden starting to move in, and them really still running the advantage, they take the lead, and they have Sylvanas eliminating a few more camps in the, or minion waves in the middle, so pinning down Tychus, as Captain Rex is making his way to the team fight at the top.
Man, Ozzy's doing such a good job at nailing these Archon timings. It is 25-20 in terms of minions being controlled on this shrine, and poor Blade just stuck on the back left is also going to get picked off, and that is 3 people being deleted here for the Czech team. That means we're going to have the Punisher on the top side pushing in, and it is going to be an Arcane Punisher, which brings a hefty amount of hero damage.
Sylvanas came in with the perfect timing. She just like moved in, dropped the Wailing Arrow, was able to eliminate Brightwing too, and now with 7 kills to 2 and a 2-level advantage, we have Team Sweden just making the move right there for the topside keep. Only one fort eliminated, but really that's it. So Tigers instantly pops Odin and forces the blue team to push into that. But the Punisher wants a piece of the action, jumps in, get the stun out, and yeah, good at least choke point control from the red team. But it doesn't seem like they can save the keep. And by the way, Sylvanas has now also moved into 300 stacks, so she's long past the first quest reward.
Oof, she's getting pretty big. Sven now starting to take some damage from this keep, but the keep is low and finally will fall. That is going to be a 15-13 talent, or a level lead for our team, but the talents do not go up. It's actually even at the moment until level 16, so you're going to see Sweden back away and take their winnings. And a full keep on a push isn't too shabby at all. Looking over to Team Czech, man. What do you think they gotta do? How do they get back in here to win these fights? Do they continue trying to chug along? Do they pick off the people that are slowing down the rotations? Like, what is the call here?
I mean, honestly, essentially, the best thing that they probably can do is just, like, go for a quick pause and pray that the Swedish team loses the internet connection. That might get them the farthest.
Yeah. What's it going down the checklist of things they get until as Entomb comes out? And Wubby is going to be able to help lead the team to another kill on the bottom. And Sven's circling on the corner. They want this fort, and they're going to take it. And Blaze is doing what he can right now. He's in the top lane, grabbing the experience. Everyone on the red team needs to get out of harm's way, and poor Orphea might not be able to get that memo. And she is locked in. Brightwing came over to help. And oh my gosh, another helping of, what do you call it? A fruit fly getting picked off.
Yeah, Trashwing is down. Leo at least dies too, but they get Tigers at the bottom of the map. I mean, to be fair, for Czechia to really come back here, they need to win the team fight somehow. That would give them experience, it would give them map control that they can try and use to catch some XP, close the gap a little bit more. The problem is simply with 10 kills to 3, with a 2-level advantage, with a talent lead, it's nearly impossible. Sweden is going through them like hot butter through cheese, just winning every single fight that they engage into and picking them off one by one. So unless they're finding some kind of angle with a good combo of maybe a good blessed shield by Jojo leading the charge, I just don't see it right now. The problem is simply Sweden is pulling too far ahead. Now, to be fair, against Ukraine, it was the late game where the Swedish team was struggling the most. But I would actually chalk that up to Ukraine just being so strong in the late game and playing it out so well, and not necessarily to be for Sweden to be weak there. But maybe Czechia can start to try and exploit something once they have their own level 16 talent, but it's still a big gap that they have to bridge before we get there.
Sure. And Sven right now is just leading the charge here. There's going to be a massive jet propulsion actually on the back line. Here comes the chomping from Orphea, and they are going to be able to walk out of it to make sure it expires right away. Johanna pops her trait, turns around, gets a condemn, but they are fighting a talent down. Can they do anything here? Sven getting in trouble? But the light bomb will be all she wrote as Johanna gets picked up, and the lightning breath from Godzilla himself gets all low as a second member will get picked off, and that is all 3 forts now down.
Did you see the ragdoll kick?
No, I missed it.
Orphea dies behind the fort, and then somehow somebody went in, and she just gets kicked across the entire screen.
Oh, no. Ragdolls are a great gift to us gamers. Hot butter through cheese? Yes, that is Khaldor's cooking tips. If you ever need your cheese to be enlightened, put some hot butter right through it, or of course buy his merch. ! Merch.
Yeah, we got a link in the description. The hot butter through cheese merch is still in there. The apron is the top seller apparently in that one, which I still can't believe. But as with all gaming things, it makes your food taste 10% more tasty, and your ingredients usage 10% more efficient.
Unfortunate here. Czech almost had a pick there, but a leap of faith from Gunnar is going to save Tassadar, who was getting low on HP. That could have been their moment to start turning this around. Was that even a B-step? Oh my gosh. Gunnar feeling himself. Here comes the phase shift into a condemn. Flesh currently taking a lot of damage from Captain Rex in the back. They turn around, try and get some damage on him. Here comes the wailing arrow silencing the Brightwing. Johanna locked into a corner. There goes Tychus. Three folks have now been deleted. Oh my golly.
Yeah, Sylvanas with the quest completed. I mean, honestly, the pinnacle reward here, just having that extra heal and sustain is already amazing for her, but now they're just taking them down so quickly. It's a 3-level gap, and it's nearly a 5-man wipe. I mean, they're looking for it. They're looking for Blaze now. He's the only defender. The Punisher is pushing through the middle, eliminating the second keep. There it is. 5-man team wipe. Taking all of them down, and Team Sweden is on their way to the first victory in this group. taking down Czechia in their quest to make it at a minimum into the number 2 slot. Well done, blue team with a victory on Infernal Shrines. GG. I hope all of you guys enjoy the Nations Cup. We have an awesome event going on right now with a lot of amazing games. Honestly, I can't imagine how many teams we had sign up for this one, so it's really, truly been a blast. But please keep in mind that all of these events are only possible because we have private supporters, we have support on Patreon, and of course also campaigns that we run on the channel. And right now you can support the channel for free. So if you don't have the money to spare to support the channel on Patreon, for example, or become a subscriber on Twitch, this is a perfect opportunity to still help us save Heroes Esports and to help the channel out. All that you gotta do is download Opera GX. You can find the link down in the description of the video, and then use the browser to watch a couple of YouTube videos, maybe this one here, or for example watch a live stream and play around with it a bit. The browser has an integrated VPN, which is quite helpful, of course. It has a lot of themes and customization options and other features that are targeting gamers directly. So just give it a shot, play around with it a little bit, and that's all that you gotta do to support the channel here. It's absolutely free, costs you a couple of minutes of your time, and I would really appreciate if you would do that to support us here. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the show. Gun of Terror! Well, here we go, guys. Map number 2. Czechia, a little bit outmatched on the first map. Let's see if they can bring this back. They actually decided that they want to have map choice, so they're bringing us to Garden of Terror, and Sweden now has to prove that they can take them down and get their first match victory in the series, or well, in this group.
We'll see if they can do that, because honestly, the macro play, although there was Sylvanas in game number 1, was phenomenal from Sweden. They were really locking down on making sure to get an early fort. They were using their tanks to slow down any route rotations and ensure that they could get those. So now that would be something that we'll need to be focused on for this game. However, Garden of Terror is a game that does go into the late stages. Usually we do get to see both teams hit level 20, so that is something that they can rely on here as we head into the match.
I honestly want Vikings right now. You have Sven on your side.
Give him.
I know that he
Cool.
played a different role in the previous ones, but I mean, if you're going in here, come on, Sven, give us something. I either want to see Vikings, which I think is a little bit less likely. Abathar is already banned, so apparently Czechia hates fun. But then Sven could come in with his Samuro. Now, the dream would have been Samuro plus Abathar. Don't think we're going to get that. But they asked, come on. Like,
Khaldor, they hate you. No time for party.
I swear, if we didn't have delay on the stream, I would say they're just listening and banning out all the good stuff that we're talking about. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan here. Abathar banned, Vikings banned. If they're now banning Murky, then I'm going to call hacks and give both of them a yellow card.
Or you're the greatest caster in the world. Let's see. Not quite. Not a fish, man.
Clearly, Murky first
Confirmed
pick.
using their own brain. Hogger first pick coming in. Wubby has always been, hey, if we get a good top laner that is strong, I am first pricking it. I was actually kind of interested to see if he would get his Urel out. But we get Hogger instead, who is a strong mainstay in the top lane meta.
In the first series that they played against Ukraine, one of the first things that Ukraine actually did is ban Urel. They're like, no.
Yeah.
Urel de Haka, insta-ban, like, nope, not happening.
For those that don't know, there was literally like a period of like 2 months, maybe 3 months, where Urel was slightly overtuned, and Wubby just like destroyed his lanes, and they went on like an insane spree of wins whenever the Urel came up. It was like a wild win rate.
I still remember the time when we had this like trifecta that nobody really picked up on, that they had a 100% win rate. It wasn't a team, it was just whenever a team got... Do you remember this? Diablo,
Yeah, it was
Urel,
Diablo,
and I
Thrall.
believe it was Deckard Kane. Those three, every
okay.
time they ended up on the same team, they won. I think it was an 11 or 12-0 win streak. It was absurd.
Oof.
It was like crazy.
Good times,
like,
man.
that sustain, nobody could break through that. It was just nasty. So, yeah. But we get a Karazim. That's actually not what I expected here. Totally okay with it. Would have loved that paired off with some Abathar action, which we're unfortunately not going to get. But I guess Sven with Judgment, 7-sided strike over on Karazim. Double global against them, though. I mean, again, Czechia picked the map, so they said, hey, we want to play the macro game against you right now.
That is something that you are pointing out here, the double global being up. One thing that already their team does, Tyrael, Karazim, and Hogger, is if they pick a target, they can delete them pretty quickly before that rotation can happen. Dahaka, while the global is pretty fast, it's still like a 2-second, 3-second windup. Falstad has to fly in. And by then, they may have had a pick already. I would like to see a little bit more isolation and maybe a little bit more CC coming in later on in the stage. And then, of course, you want your damage. But interesting draft already. They will have to be on top of their rotations, especially that double global that you were talking about. And we do have a Muradin ban as well as a Genji.
We talked a little bit about how the macro game from Sweden was actually pretty good. So it's interesting that Czechia comes in on the second map and says like, okay, we're gonna out macro you right now. Because like, that's a bold statement right there. And well, Arthur's as our frontliner, also not something that you see all that often.
Yeah, I do like it here though, because with Karazim being picked up, like obviously you're like, I want to try and hop on somebody and get a pick off. Arthur's actually, if he isn't forcing the engage, he's actually really good at kind of holding down the line a little bit, especially with the Army of the Dead coming in. And then, of course, you have Rhaegar to help out with the cleanse, so they can buy time on that front line for a fight to unfold and get their globals. Oh, my God!
Yeah, they're giving themselves a real handicap here. I mean, just a little bit of a side note, VALEERA is pretty much a meme pick in competitive play. I know that there's a couple of solo quick match players out there that are not going to like that statement, but in competitive play, she is bad. She has horrible, horrible win rate. What you can do with her, though, especially if you feel like you are the stronger team, sometimes we get something where you have Judgment coming in, VALEERA jumps on the same target, gets all her damage out. If that's not enough, you have Karazim, you have Jaina for even more burst. So in a game like this, where you are already supposedly the top dog, that can work.
Oh man, I'm excited for this. There is just straight up a Rhaegar, Arthas, Sergeant Hammer, like, hey, we own the, everything the light touches is ours, you know, that kind of setup for Sergeant Hammer, and then you have two globals in the other lanes ready to rotate. I don't see a lot of rotations happening, which is where VALEERA can kind of thrive. Luckily, it is Guard of Terror, so there are mercenary camps that had to be grabbed, but man, this is going to be a fun one. Well,
second game of the best of 3 series and match point for Team Sweden. Starting off in blue on the left, and Khaldor with Karazim is going inside on level 1. Alright, we got Captain Rex on Jaina, Azzy on VALEERA, Sven on Tyrael, and Whoopi on Hogger. So very likely they're gonna go later on with Tyrael, VALEERA, and some of the other damage dealers hunting for single targets. But yeah, blue team set and ready to go for a second map of the best of 3.
For our red team, man, Flash on Falstad, Mouse on Hammer, Alcoholics on Dahaka, Shady on Rhaegar, and Zonk on Arthas. And yeah, the main story of this game is probably going to be VALEERA and Karazim, especially that Insight pick. For those that don't know, Insight is required of getting a lot of stats up to 100. When you do get those 100 attacks, your basic ability cooldowns will reduce when you're hitting opposing members or, of course, health bars in general. So you can start to really set up, but getting that first 100 can be a little difficult. Wubby right behind Sergeant Hammy here, calling over to VALEERA to rotate in. Here goes the combo into the dash. Can they find the kill? Possibly not. She does go away, but that is still a lot of damage on Hammer.
Yeah, had to retreat here, but at least they were able to keep her alive, so that's the good news. Rhaegar's already working on some camps, will probably get some assistance there in a moment. But the kill squad is starting to roam the map. And again, I've seen, at least in the context of some more amateur play level, when we're talking Heroes Lounge, I've seen some of these like, hey, we're using VALEERA as a bit of a finisher after the initial stun comes in, and it can kind of work. The reason why Sweden can play this here is because they are now 1-0 ahead, and they're obviously the massive favorite, and this is we've already seen. But generally speaking, at least on the competitive level, VALEERA is very, very meh. There's a couple of picks that just when you look at the general tournament win rates are not doing, you're not doing yourself any favors picking them.
Yeah, she can be a little weird because if like you're trying to flank behind her, you have, or if you're trying to flank behind the opposing team as VALEERA, you put yourself in a weird situation where if you get caught, you can lose out on your invisibility, of course, and then it's on a large cooldown, and it can be interrupted after 1 second of it being activated. And then of course her damage has been kind of nerfed over the years to be a little bit on the weaker side. Of course, healers are better at this higher level too, so they're keeping an eye out for it. It's just a lot of things not going your way. Big push in the top lane, though, already, as our double global strategy is working on grabbing those turrets. Giants actually getting the control in the middle of the tug-of-war in the mid lane right now. And as I keep an eye on this Karazim, who is stacking, he's currently at 39. And he can use the insight against heroes, minions, as well as mercenary camps. So Gunnar will constantly be trying to stack and get that done quickly.
That was a quick kill. So Sergeant Hammer says goodbye as Jaina is able to secure kill number 1. Obviously also adding a few extra damage points to her baseline. We'll see if she's able to unlock her mythic reward, which of course got changed. But yeah, there's a lot of action coming on. That big fight at the top lane that you've been also talking about, a back and forth on that lane. Now the kill against Sergeant Hammer at the bottom of the map. But the main aggression is really just still centered around the top lane.
Yeah, this giant push in the top lane has actually been a bit of a thorn here for both Falstad and Dahaga. Falstad obviously trying to ramp up with him trying to finish off that mythic quest. Dahaga doesn't really bring in that much damage. Of course, he does have the tongue that can pull people on the turret. So they were actually struggling a little bit on that lane, with VALEERA coming in occasionally and trying to poke him down. But I think they finally got that under control. First seed now dealt with here on the bottom right, and Sven's going to be able to delay this forever, dude. Eldruin being tossed in, popping in, smiting, dropping down your justification. We'll see how long they can slow that down, as it looks like we're not going to have a hard engage from our Czech team. I'm actually looking. Yeah, Sergeant Hammer thought about rotating, but she continues going bottom.
It's a little bit of an awkward one for the red team because the tribute position favors them. So that's the one thing where they want to lock that down. But with the blue team, it continuously interrupting it. They're just hoping to push these lanes a little bit more, and so far that's actually working. So now we have level 7 kicking in. That also gives us the ice lands for Jaina. She has been changed in the recent patches a little bit as well and could see more popularity. Teams will definitely try and play her, and then the question is just how much success they're going to find with it. Also, what's going to happen with that mythic reward that I talked about earlier, still quite powerful. Arthur's, by the way, in the middle, barely escaping. VALEERA still roaming the map, and in this case trying to get another kill at the bottom lane, but the red team is paying attention, is playing this a little bit safer now.
And one thing to note too, if you're at home watching, like, why are they getting the seed? It's so hard with the amount of poke at high-level players. Like, a lot of people aren't going to fully commit to getting a seed because they know someone can come over and poke them. That gets your health bar lower, and over time, you get into a reduced position. The focus here for all of our teams has been to get the minion wave. It's more important in the early game than grabbing one little seed to build towards your terrors later on. You want to make sure you don't fall behind in levels. So this is something that you can put into your own game as well. Make sure you have someone to poke. But Jaina here actually taking some poke from Falstad, and there's going to be a pick as she is taken away. Sven potentially in trouble. Where's that Eldruin? There we go. He tosses it over and gets out just in time. Meanwhile, VALEERA runs down to the bottom right seed looking for a possible Sergeant Hammer pick.
But I actually really like what they just did with that fly. A lot of map awareness and utilizing the 2 globals that we highlighted earlier. They clearly said, we want to play this map. We come in with a double global first pick, and then we're going to try and run the macro game. And now they're doing that already with Falstad. Gave him also the stacks to cross over the 60 threshold on his level 1, so now extra damage for Falstad on the auto attacks is slowly starting to kick in. And talking about stacks, Karazim, he is sitting at 98, so he's going to complete his quest here. Quest completed, 5 minutes in, so now we're going to have the cooldown reduction ready for him.
That's going to be feeling really nice. Ample heals, chase potential, dashing around. He'll become a zoomy boy for sure. Night Camp in the top right has been scouted by Sven and AZ, but with 3 members here on North that's rotating over, I doubt they'll be able to take this away. I don't think they're going to be able to do it so as well. I'm looking at Karazim and Jaina and seeing where they're going to go. Yeah, they're just going to go ahead and push out the middle of the lane instead. Zonk goes in for a Howling Blast. Here's Falstad going for a Hammering as well, and they will be able to skedaddle thanks to that movement speed coming in from Sven on that smite. Ooh, Arthas in trouble. Here's a Water Elemental. Big Mighty Gust over the top right corner. And that's why you soak your waves, ladies and gentlemen. Get to 10 just in time as your opponents are. That way you can make sure you don't get picked off.
We got a Hodder pulled here for the engage, but no judgment, so they're not going to go for the super aggressive variation that they could have tried to play. Instead, it's Sanctification for the team fights, so an adjustment that's a little bit more passive for Tyrael. There's a 7-sided strike, though. Alcoholics with a tongue. Sank comes out, and Dahaga is dead, instantly using the ult here and locking in another kill for Sweden. VALEERA, the one with the final hit here.
And there was also an attempt to go for Sergeant Hammer on the bottom. She had to use her boosters to get away. Rhaegar was able to grab the Giant Camp while that happened, but it's really interesting to see this massive 3-lane push in the top lane between Tyrael, Karazim, and a VALEERA. Typically, they're not considered the pushers, but hey, it looks like together they can get it done. Oh, here comes the tongue, and poor Alcoholics could not connect it, which means he's going to miss out on that burrow, but at least to get top lane pushing, he can continue to soak that up instead.
Yeah, he's been doing well so far, but he's no Sugar Daddy 69.
He sure is, and I was thinking about, like, who is that player? I totally forgot. I can't believe I forgot the legend about Sugar
The
Daddy
man
69.
with a tongue.
The man with the tongue. I want that on my Wikipedia page. Just such a nice acolyte to have.
Oh, God. Well, the one thing Jaina is having a bit of a tough time because we haven't really seen a lot of team brawls. So for her, it's a bit tricky to actually get the damage for her baseline in. Most of the fights were just individual picks. But now the siege at the bottom of the map. Czechia is now on level 12, a little bit more confident with Napalm to start sieging up on structures. Here comes Syndragosa even, trying to slow them down in the back line and flanking in with Arthurs. They try for Tyrael. Jaina's already out of harm's way, but I guess at a minimum they're going to get the fort here. There is counter pressure at the top lane though, as VALEERA is actually going for structures instead of heroes.
As long as they get this fort, I'm going to be happy. And they should be able to get it with Sergeant Hammer, but some more units are trickling in, and it's still low on HP. Hammering comes out, and oh my gosh, what is that living with? What is that living with? Like, what, 100 HP? Top lane, actually, we're looking at Dahaka as he's chasing down VALEERA. Gets that extra movement from moving from the brush, but not enough. And Wubby comes over to say, hey, get off VALEERA. Here comes the combo. There's the damage. Burrow, maybe. Enough. Alcoholics gets a tongue under the tower. Able to heal, but Wubby finally finds it. He needs to run over to his teammates here. Going to the top left. Mighty Gus. The tower continues to hit. There's the shield. And he's able to tornado out Khaldor.
And at the bottom of the map, oh, 7-sided strike, the turn, and the kill on Arthurs. Yeah, nicely done. They're even pushing for more. I mean, oh, beautiful stun. Great Ancestral, though, from Shady. Instantly coming in, saying, like, all right, better safe than sorry, I'm going to save this one. Sergeant Hammer's been desperately trying to take down the fort at the bottom of the map, threw a napalm over, but missed it. Just by a little bit. And now, finally, the moment when that fort gets destroyed. But top side, Falstad, talking about destroyed, he's down. And they're swarming Rhaegar. The dog doesn't stand a chance, and that's the second kill on the lane.
Yeah, there's a lot of chase potential here for Team Sweden with all their units here. So if there is a prolonged fight, and if they find themselves starting to get a little further ahead in HP, and to be fair, Insight is really helping out with that, they can really just find a target and continue to move in. You know, you have Hogger who can kind of heal himself, especially thanks to his 1-4 talent coming in. So he's able to really just kind of stay alive and continue putting out those meat stacks. So you're seeing that they're all about, hey, if we just dance around a fight, keep up the heals, they can't quite lock us down, we are going to eventually win out through attrition. And poor Dahaka is silenced immediately by VALEERA, which means he can't go for the burrow and gets locked into a kill. Flesh comes over for a Mighty Gus. There's a Nargosa too, but it's starting to feel a little sloppy.
Yeah, that wasn't really synced up the way that you wanted, and now the path is blocked thanks to Tyrael, and Arthur dies as well. If they would have just locked the... I mean, first of all, forcing that fight there wasn't really necessary. But if you're already deciding, okay, we're going to try to push them into the tower range and then try to fight there, then you have to sync this up a little bit better with Syndragosa coming out a bit earlier. So communication was definitely not perfect in the situation. And now we're talking about a 2-level gap between the teams. We have a talent advantage, again, for Team Sweden, so they're on level 16 right now. And structure after structure is falling. And Czechia is just zoned out from essentially everything here.
I'm really appreciating this Tyrael and Karazim tandem. They're running together, right? They're providing the shields over targets that are getting relatively low. They're able to swing fights back into their favor. And of course, it's helpful that they're ahead in talent 16-15 right now. But Finn and Gunnar are just playing so well together whenever a fight breaks out. Obviously, right now, we see Karazim and VALEERA working on the giant camp in the middle. But watch every single team fight. Moment anything is called, Tyrael and Karazim work in tandem, provide the shields, provide the healings, and that has been allowing for them to really get these fights.
VALEERA is the top damage currently for the blue team. Sergeant Hammer is obviously holding the spot for Czechia. But so far, things are going very, very well for VALEERA here. They're getting their kills in, they're dominating the map. They even took the 2 seats already, stole the one away from Team Czechia at the beginning. And now Arthurs gets attacked again, is trying to escape here. 7-sided comes out, and this is just, again, this blow-up potential against isolated targets that we already highlighted from the beginning, and they're executing it perfectly. Another time that we have Tyrael blocking the path of retreat, and that's a double kill once more for Team Sweden, who now have 11 kills to 1.
Yeah, this experience between these players that have been around Heroes of the Storm for a long time is really being showcased right now. The silence makes it hard for you to hit any of your buttons. You can't get a knockback. You have the Eldruin coming in for the lockdown that you were talking about. And then Karazim is free to bring that 7-sided strike. And as long as you find an isolated target, you're going to get all 7 of those hits. Percent damage, by the way, on a target. So even like Arthas, who usually is relatively tanky, is just struggling in these fights. Now, there is good news for Red Team. They are level 16, but there is a massive amount of bad news. There is a large terror wave pushing between middle and bottom, and starting to group up on the top as Jaina clears that out. They need to get ready for defense.
Yes, there's no talent advantage, as you already pointed out, but there's certainly a massive push coming with the 2-level lead. Not sure if we're going to get to level 20 with this push, most likely not, but this is still going to hurt one way or another. They're trying to break through the middle now. There is another Garden Terror down at the bottom of the map. Falset still trying to get to the second quest reward, which would give him more auto-attack damage, so they might just be able to get that single target damage on point. But here comes again the engage. The Horder pulled already triggered as they're diving in deep. Sergeant Hammer defending the bot lane successfully, but here in the middle, that's a different story.
Yeah, they need Hammer to get over here now and start helping out. This keep is already down to half HP, and he does rotate just in time. Gunner just straight up runs it down on Sergeant Hammer, gets a few punches in. He's going to be able to use the extra armor to stay alive. Sanctification will be used too, and they may have actually held this keep. It is low. It's not feeling too good. Probably unhealthy. A doctor would probably say life support even, but it is still alive for now.
There was a nice counter with the Sanctification once that we had Syndragosa coming out here. Falls are now also with the Gust. They're running out of cooldowns, and that bit of poke that's still needed to take the keep out should be easy for them. So they're jumping in. They even want the kill on Sergeant Hammer. Can't get that, but they take out the keep. There is also Garden Terror at the top, but it's already about to be defeated by the Haka. Still was able to break through the wall and has opened up the path to another keep. So Czechia is pinned down in their base right now, and here is level 20 for Team Sweden, with even Aspect of Justice now being taken.
And now it's all a matter of like, okay, how do we get 2 levels and a smidgen of experience to get level 20 so we can answer back against our opponents without getting picked off? And luckily they do have a composition that pretty much excels at that. You have Falstaff for the wave clear, you have Sergeant Hammer in the bottom lane, Arthur's protecting him. They can slowly defend, and get to that 20. But if anyone goes down, the odds of them getting anything on the map is going to fall dramatically. And that's the part about Sweden here too. If they decide, hey, this doesn't look good, this fight isn't something we want to take for, they can pull back at any time. Ooh, easy going in.
Yeah, once again, blocking it. Good Ancestral. But I love how Tyrell is currently using his 13. I mean, those books are fantastic. And now they even get a kill. Arthas was able to escape. Sergeant Hammer not. And now they still want to go for that initial kill. Yeah, they're taking him down. Sanctification, perfect use. Rhaegar also gone. It's the triple baby. Well done by Team Sweden.
Oh, Sven's playing so well right now. He stepped in front of Dahaka to make sure he can get the tongue so Jaina wouldn't get picked off and provided her with some shields. Just in time to help out. But they do find a pick. Karazim is down, and usually when a healer goes down, that stops a lot of pushing from occurring because you're not able to top them off if they take any damage. And with Defender's Advantage being a bit too strong, I don't know if Sweden's going to be able to do much more here. But they still have that Storm Talent advantage as 19 has just hit. I mean, Sweden, our Czech team.
They kind of changed their idea a little bit. So they were clearly sieging up for the core. They were getting kills, and they were planning to go for the core here after they got those kills. But then with Karazim dying, as you already mentioned, the sustain's gone. So they knew they couldn't make that play anymore. So they switched to the top keep instead, and that they can destroy. So that's keep number 2 gone. More catapult pressure against Czechia. We're now 16 minutes into the game. So this is going to hurt one way or another. And the blue team just falls back, waits for Karazim to come back in. Nearly loses Azzy to the minions or to the mercenary camp. So that's currently causing a lot more trouble than the red team. But yeah, maybe with 20 they can come back here. Storm Talents are going to be ready in just a moment for them.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. What is the dynamic going to be with our 20? It's probably going to be a Wind Tunnel pickup right here for Falstad. Yeah, there it is. So it'll be Sanctification against Wind Tunnel, and whether or not VALEERA can snipe Falstad before the fight unfolds. So we'll see how this goes, but now things look a little bit better for Team Czech. And honestly, we've seen a lot of pro teams and people that are higher level play on Garden of Terror and literally adopt the idea of just get to 20. We don't care if we lose our keeps. We don't care if we lose our forts. The Garden Terrors are defendable, especially with the Sergeant Hammer. And now Czech has gotten there. It's an uphill battle, but this is winnable. I've seen it in the past. We'll see how it goes, but it's going to be kind of on the rough side. You got to really keep an eye on where VALEERA is.
They've taken
at
least
where she is.
2 forts out already, so it's not like they didn't eliminate any structures. That mitigates some of the catapult pressure, but they're of course still far behind here. So now they're trying to turn it against Karazim. Wind Tunnel already used, big cooldown. Quest completed for Jaina, so now she has the mythic reward. So now she can actually move and cast while it's active. We'll see if this is going to come into play or if they don't need it. Rhaegar is already gone, but the counter kill against VALEERA. So Czechia is trading 1 for 1.
1 for 1, and they were looking for another, but poor Alcoholics is just missing everything right now. Isolation into a drag, unable to hit, but another pick does come out. Karazim is down, and we've seen what happens when Karazim is down in this composition. There's no sustain, so they have to pull away. Now, they still have 3 here, and Czech does have to kind of hold their own lanes. They're missing a Rhaegar as well. We'll see if Arctis and crew can start moving over and trying to delay this. There is, of course, the Howling Blast. They're going to be able to drop down his Q as well. So it looks like Czech might want to actually move up and contest this. And they do have a number advantage, so maybe they should.
I mean, Karazim just like jumping in and committing honorable Sudoku right there. Like,
oh no, Hammer.
He had no
Hammer.
chance there anymore. So went straight for it. But I like what we're seeing there. We caught it there towards the end. Sweden with a kill against Sergeant Hammer, sneaking around and then finding that cheeky kill as Jaina is pushing essentially down at the bottom of the map now for the keep. The red team is going to try and stop that though, so yeah, Jaina got some damage in, especially with the siege giants that she escorted through. But there's the
Poor
interrupt.
Hammer just needed a friend. Stuck in the woods by herself, gets picked off by Sweden.
Falstad is also now at 200 stacks, so second quest reward unlocked. More auto attack damage. I mean, there's a lot of good signs for the red team, but they still have to, of course, take a few structures out. But at the minimum, they are now in a position where they can fight back. And they have a seed as well. So, picked up a few more kills, get a bit more experience, get their stacks together. But they have to do well in those team fights, and we'll see if they can.
Okay, Hammer up in 8 seconds, 1-1 in seeds. Taking a slight break, a little bit of a lull in the action, which is a-okay by me. I do think we need to see Czech kind of focus up a little bit here, as he once again is invisible right now. Remember, with VALEERA, if she is in her stealth mode for more than a second or two, she will go fully invisible. Oh, but the damage is just too much, and Arthas is taken out with Ancestral Healing, not able to connect at the last second, and they use a wind tunnel.
Yeah, like, they used everything here, and the Ancestor was used so quickly, but it just was not enough. Bad spot for him to be in. Then again, it's the same pattern over and over again. Tyrael just blocks the path and all of a sudden the kill comes in. So in this case it was a bit close because of the Ancestral, but now the blue team is in a spot where they can at least try to push 4 versus 5. Could go for the final keep if they wanted to, but they're clearly having their aim set for the core from the looks of it, or at least hoping to get another kill.
It's got an interesting aspect about this composition for Team Sweden is they kind of do need a push of minions to get damage on that core. They're too melee based, right? They can't quite get up on that core with the AoE that comes in. So they're just sieging all these keeps, trying to get catapults in, trying to win through the map. They do have 2 out of 3 seeds right now. 4 seconds and counting for Arthas to come back. Czech just holding what they can while Jaina continues to shell away ice lance after ice lance, poking this thing down.
The problem is also that we now have another seed coming up, and this would be the 3rd one for
Yeah.
Team Sweden, so another set of Garden Terrors if they can claim it. And that's why Czechia is now moving out. Syndragosa slowing them. Jaina's ice block. Uses it and just tries to walk away here. It looks funny as hell, but it doesn't help her. She still dies, so that's exactly what Czechia needed. They get the kills, but they also have catapults on their core, and 21 minutes into the game, those bad boys are starting to hurt.
They are. They're trying to burn through that core right now. It's down 85%. And VALEERA is just trying to buy time now. She knows she's going to be picked off at some point, but if she's getting chased, that's more time for the catapults to hit. Bringing him down to 64%. Azzy trying to go around. Will be able to Sinister Strike over here at the top left. Goes unstoppable. Gets around the hammering. No way. No way he gets out of here. And he does get out of there. The angles were just not good enough from the Czech team. And there's that 3rd seed available with Jaina spawning in 28 seconds.
And the core is down to 57%. That one hurt. But again, it illustrates perfectly how important it is to take these keeps out and get that map control. They weren't just laser focused on the core the entire time. They realized earlier with Karazim gone that it would be better to take the next keep away. And that helped them to now get massive damage on that core. It's Winion time. Even with the 2 globals that Czechia is running. They have the map control essentially with Dehaka and with Falstad. But because of all of these catapults, Sweden is still able to fairly pin them down here. The kill for Czechia was great, but they clearly need more than only one.
This is intense, man.
Dehaka in the middle.
Bottom left.
Hold up,
Dehaka
pull.
trying to get out.
Ooh,
Silence.
the
Here's out
slow.
Ruin.
He's still in there. Got his ult out, and here comes Falstad. Could go gas. No, it's too late. They got the team in. Oh, if they just got there earlier. But look at that Sanct again. Honestly, these plays from Tyrael. So many cool plays. 4 down. And that is all she wrote right here. Sweden. What a fantastic fight for them.
Yeah, I gotta shout out Sven, man. He played so well this round. I loved watching his Tyrael, just completely in sync with his teammates, able to follow up where it was needed. I like the attempt there from Czech, but I think they were just bleeding a bit too much everywhere on the map, and that is going to be the core burning down. And Sweden is gonna win with a 2-0 victory.
Nicely done. Congratulations to Sweden for their first match win in the group here at the Nations Cup. GG.